All right. I don't know what happened to Peter, so I'm just going to start. I'm just
okay.
gonna,
Yeah, I mean,
treading water. But
yeah.
there is a fascinating fight, at least I think so, that seems to be brewing on the left. And this, I saw this clip, and I'm just going to play it. This is Elizabeth Warren. She's on a channel that has like less than 1,000 subs. So that's like, I don't know why she's on this channel.
If she's going to do that, she can come on mine. But anyway, all right.
It's online. It's on YouTube.
Okay.
It's been on YouTube. So let me. I'm going to pull it up. And when I saw it, I was like, why is she on this channel? Who is this guy? Like, how did he get Elizabeth? Maybe I'm jealous. Maybe, yeah, okay, fair enough. This is my jealousy coming through. How the hell did he get Elizabeth Warren? And maybe my audience, like, why the hell do you want Elizabeth Warren on the show? She's a senator. Why wouldn't I want her on the show?
Yeah.
He goes through this entire interview.
A notable senator.
Is critical of her and the Democratic Party in this interview. It is fascinating. But there's an absurd part that he gets to that I want to play for you that is fascinating, completely fascinating. In fact, I'm just going to play it. I'm not going to preempt it. I have a tendency to preempt.
Okay.
A mental acuity. He had a sharpness to him. You said that up until July of last year.
I said what I believe to be true.
And you think he was as sharp as you?
Right there for a moment. She laughs at the question, by the way. She laughed. She's like, do you really think he was sharp as you? She can't even keep it in.
Joe Biden's never been that sharp. Okay, ever. So that's.
I'm pointing out that she is trying to defend her comments about Joe Biden being sharp to somebody who's pointing out it is outrageous that you are saying that this man is sharp when he was out of his fucking mind and should have been out of the race a long time ago. And
yeah,
maybe
2019, in my opinion, but yeah.
Yeah, right. And so that's his point. Like, you're responsible. You're culpable for this. You, just like many of the other Democrats, pretended as if this man was on it and that he could run in a race. And when he went to that debate,
well, it's a mafia. They were all told, like, you've got to, like, this is the party line. Literally, you've got to stand. You can't just say no comment. You've got to keep up appearances. Otherwise, you're not loyal. You know, it's kind of like the ultimate example of that is when Bush sent Colin Powell up to the UN to lie about weapons, anthrax and stuff in Iraq. It's like, you've got to show your bona fides. You've got to show that you're loyal. Otherwise, you're no longer with us. That's what this is about.
I don't care.
Oh, I agree with you. I'd be like, there's certain things go too far.
Yes.
And claiming that Joe Biden is sharp as a tack, it goes too far.
Sharp as a tack as he was about to run into a race.
And you destroy your own brand. You'll lose all of your credibility. I mean, politicians, you could bend the truth. But if you just brazenly lie and everyone knows you're lying, you're screwed.
We have to put this in context. They're saying this man is Hitler. He's a fascist. He's going to shoot Liz Cheney in the face. There would never be another elections.
Right.
And they are saying the guy to hold back the night, the man on the wall, is Joe Biden. And he's sharp as a tack.
Yeah.
He has hard sex with his wife. These are things that they like. He
remember
behind stage.
Remember the press secretary, Jean-Pierre, who said that he was like, oh, he's like a twister. He's like a tornado. He's like Dolomite 2. He's impossible to keep up with. He's the tornado.
That's outrageous.
He's the Rudy Ray Moore of our time. Like, what?
If you are a Democrat, that shit is outrageous. And she laughs at it, which makes it even worse. Like, meaning
later she admitted that she never saw him. Right? Like, ever. Like,
see, so that's the thing, right? Like, I guess
tornado, you didn't see that tornado, right? Like,
if you are complaining about Trump as a Democrat, and you were in Congress, you were talking to the media at that time, and as a Democrat, you were like, the worst case scenario has happened. Trump is elected twice, and he's going all in.
I got to know what does Liz Warren have to say after he?
Okay, I'm sorry. Let me go to Liz Warren.
I'm like on tenterhooks here.
Okay, let me go to Liz Warren. I'm sorry. Let's hear Liz. Finish this out.
Biden had a mental acuity. He had a sharpness to him. You said that up until July of last year.
I said what I believe to be true.
And you think he was as sharp as you?
I said I had not seen decline. And I hadn't at that point.
You did not see any decline from 2024 Joe Biden to 2021 Joe Biden?
Not when I said that. You know, the thing is, he was sharp. He was on his feet. I saw him live event. I had meetings with him a couple of times.
Senator, on his feet is not praise. He can speak in sentences is not praise.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Look, the question is, what are we going to do now?
Biden had a mental.
You're mute. You're on
I
mute.
know. I was fumbling with the thing to try to get to the task.
Oh, sorry.
I was frantically fumbling trying to get to that thing, saying no. That is not the question. There needs to be accountability.
Well,
Don't
that's
give a shit about
that's like
what the question is. Don't reframe this, right? Like
well,
if
that's
I'm
what the Democrats always do, right? They always say, like, basically they present you with a fait accompli. That's their shtick. Oh, I know you wanted Bernie in 2016, but you've got Hillary. You're stuck with that choice. Now that we've stuck you with that choice, right? You didn't stick you with that choice. We stuck you with that choice. Now you're in Sophie's choice, and you got to pick which of your daughters goes into the oven, right? It's like 2020. We do the same thing. And it's like, it's like, you have 20 Democrats, but we're going to choose the worst one. That's your choice. It's that or Donald Trump. Okay, we're going to vote against Donald Trump because he's insane and it's a pandemic and 1 million Americans have died. So, okay. But I mean, they just keep doing this. And they did it with Joe Biden running for reelection. He's not going to run for reelection. Oh, he is going to run. Well, and inside the DNC, they always have the same conversation. And it always ends up like this. Where else are people like Ted and Jamarlt going to go? Where are they going to go? They're stuck. It's when it comes down to voting for Trump or our shitty candidate, they'll vote for our shitty candidate. And of course, that's not true.
Yeah.
But that's what they think. And that's why they've lost. They lost 2016. They lost 2024. They would have lost in 2020 if not for the unique circumstances of the pandemic.
Right.
That had nothing to do with Biden or them. So really effectively, they fucked up three elections in a row, at least. And they think this is our thing. They're stuck, and it's like they're just wrong. We're not. I mean, some of us are stuck. I have lots of friends who are stuck, and they're like, yeah, D, but like not enough to get to 270 electoral votes. That's
Ted. What I would have wanted from him was rage. That's not funny. Like meaning. Don't run a race where you tell me that Trump is Hitler and he is gonna, in America, when he gets in office and he's gonna start murdering people and putting them up against the wall. Maybe, I don't know, who knows? But let's say you believe that because that is what you're pumping out as propaganda to your lemmings and your liberals and your cultish followers.
Well, he did turn out to be pretty crazy. But
he did turn out to be pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So far, he hasn't put anybody against the wall yet. He hasn't deported people and all that stuff. I guess my point is, if you fully believe it,
crazy, though. Yeah.
Then you need to own it. And what I mean by owning it is you're telling me that the guy or the woman to deal with that is hers, or for that matter, Joe Biden. That is outrageous. And then it's like you make this argument like, no, don't believe your lying eyes. Believe us who stand behind the scenes.
Right.
That's outrageous.
Well, and like I've said, like basically, look, what bugs me the most about this is, right, so they lied for 4+ years about Biden's mental acuity or lack thereof. And all the books that are about to come out in the next few weeks are going to completely confirm that. People like Tapper and all these other people. But I mean, we all knew this. But the part that really bugs me is like, okay, so you're a grifter, fine. But like you got to the certain point where it's kind of like, they basically are living the Bernie Madoff lifestyle. Bullshit after bullshit after bullshit. And eventually it catches up, right? At a certain point, there's a margin call that you can't make. And that margin call for the Democrats was the debate with Trump, a summer ago. And like, now the thing is, they decided to go all in with that. And when Biden walked out onto that stage, if whatever they had pumped him up with the right amount of narcotics to make him like be able to be presentable, they would have won. They would have been like, no one would have watched the second debate. He would have been reelected. We would have looked stupid, even though we were right. But they didn't. But they gambled. They went all in. And then the house call, lights off, clear the table, pay up. And so and what bugs me is they don't see it that way. They don't feel like they should have to pay up. It's like they don't clear out. They don't fire the DNC. They don't start from scratch. There's no accountability. That's the part that bugs me. Like, you grifted. Bernie Madoff went to prison because, that's how this works. Richard Nixon grifted, to a much lesser degree. He, again,
nearly went to prison.
In August 1974, he had to pay the piper, right? It's like he had to leave. It's like, and so again, Kamala Harris, she had, I was reading about how, what's his name? George Clooney. He recently gave an interview where he said, it was about the letter that he wrote in the New York Times, the op-ed. He said, it was my civic duty to say what I knew because I'd seen Biden. And I'm like, okay, why does an actor have a higher civic duty than, say, the Vice President of the United States, who has the 25th Amendment? She's the only person who can activate it, right? If she had activated the 25th Amendment, I would say 2021, 2022, everyone would have been like, she's a horrible person. She's self-dealing. She just wants to be president. She's stabbing kindly old Joe in the back. That said, it would have been the patriotic thing to do. And probably the truth would have come out eventually. And she would have been vindicated. But if not, and everybody still thinks you suck, but you did the right thing for your country, then you're a good American. And she didn't do that.
That's the Batman argument, right? Let the dogs chase me. Let me be the bad guy, and you stand in the light. Yeah, that's the Batman argument. It's like that is the most patriotic thing, right? When it's like nobody knows, it's just you. You're the only person that knows that you did something good.
Right.
Yeah, that's hard. That's very hard. I don't know how many politicians got that on them to do something like that.
She wasn't the one. I mean, I could see JD Vance doing it. I can't see her doing it.
Maybe. I mean,
it's very maybe. I mean, it was a poorly written amendment because the vice president's the person who benefits from triggering it. And so it should not have been up to the vice president to activate it.
But they don't typically do.
Well, it's never happened.
Yeah, exactly. So whatever the mechanics.
But also, of course, that's not an argument. Like, well, it's never happened before. Okay, so I mean, big deal. It's like it's there for a reason, right? I mean, if there's a fire alarm in my building, which is 100 years old and it's never burned to the ground before, well, I'm still going to pull it when I smell smoke.
I'm pointing out that over the course of history of our political system, there's been continuity of respecting it, and once it's violated, then you may change it.
Right.
That's the way. I could be wrong.
Well, I would say Biden and his family and his closest advisors and the DNC did not respect the American system when he presented himself in 2020 to run for office.
Agreed.
And it was the only reason that he ran for president was because the DNC decided he was the guy to kneecap Bernie.
Yep.
That's it. It was a stop Bernie operation. I'm very unclear on why they didn't feel like they could get someone else to stop Bernie.
Black vote.
But
the black vote.
They went with him.
Biden was going to get the black vote, and they knew it.
Right.
This
was a James Clyburn operation.
In South Carolina. If you remember, Sanders was stomping through all of those states, and Joe Biden was failing in all of those states. And I know Margaret Kimberly pointed out, she's like Clyburn's influence is massively overestimated. Yeah. And she may be completely right. But the political, let's say, tea leaves, the way that people talk about it is Clyburn gave Joe Biden the nod. And Sanders, look, I will tell you, it may not have had anything to do with Clyburn. In the Black community, under normal circumstances, the thing is, who can keep the monsters at bay? It's just that.
Right.
And if we think you're a respectable candidate that can win and legitimate, you may get our nod. Obama in the beginning, if you remember, Clinton was winning the black vote. And I think after Obama went Iowa, they're like, holy shit, he can win. Oh my
Mhm.
God. And a level of legitimacy was effectively bestowed upon this black man with a Muslim name that is just, somewhat outlandish as a candidate that could typically run. He got the nod in that sense. They're like, okay, well, why are we voting for this woman? Black guy can do it. Let's back him. Obama. It became a
Right.
thing. He ran an awesome campaign. Got to give him credit.
He wasn't even. I mean, this was definitely supposed to. 2008 was supposed to be a getting to know you campaign. Like
Right.
basically, it's just like building his name recognition for a future run. He's kind of like Trump. He was kind of like a dog who caught a car
Yeah.
because he was not expecting to win the presidency in 2008 or even
Yeah,
the nomination. That was really Hillary's to lose, and she did.
Yeah, he caught fire on that. I guess my point is Biden has that stink of legitimacy in regards to being a legitimate Democrat in a way that Bernie doesn't, which
Right.
the black vote on some level is going to go to the guy who seems that way. Now, youth will go to Sanders, like 70%, some insane number. Black youth will go to Sanders because, again, they're not part of that older class that needs that legitimate quote unquote thing. But
Right.
Joe Biden was the guy that could do it.
And he'd
so,
been vice president under Obama, and that's no small thing.
That's
he had
right.
been was viewed as a loyal lieutenant.
And Pete Buttigieg was getting like -2% of the black.
Never mind the fact that he started his career opposing court-ordered busing.
Right. Right. It's just the way it works. And so, it's not necessarily fair. And my family was voting Sanders all the way through, but wasn't enough. It's just the way it worked.
Yeah.
Another thing is happening. There is, there's a video of Malik that I kind of want to go to, but I'm going to go to another one first because I brought you on for the conversation. There seems to be a bit of rage taking place in Democratic circles with progressives, quote unquote, who are very angry at the fact that liberals keep losing. Like they keep losing this race. And just like that particular, oh, damn it, what happened to it? Just like the one with Elizabeth Warren, where he's like, dude, are you serious right now? You're sitting here laughing with me while simultaneously pointing out that you effectively lied to the American public in regards to the capabilities of this man who literally lost to Donald Trump, something that was supposed to be a worst case